The numbers don't lie. Caitlin Clark generates more revenue for the WNBA than most franchises combined, yet she's making less than a decent manager at McDonald's. While her games pack arenas and crash streaming platforms, Clark's locked into a rookie contract paying her just $78,000 this season. But here's what the league didn't see coming. Her agent just figured out how to flip the entire system upside down using the WNBA's own rules against them, and what's about to unfold could either save women's basketball or completely destroy it. When Clark entered the league, she didn't just break records, she obliterated them with the force of a wrecking ball hitting glass. Her jersey sales surpassed entire team rosters before she played a single professional game, with retailers scrambling to keep up with demand that crashed their websites. ESPN executives were practically salivating over her logo threes from Iowa, knowing they had struck television gold. The viewership spike she created was so massive that networks started reshuffling their entire programming schedules just to capture her games, pushing aside established shows for WNBA coverage that suddenly commanded premium advertising rates. Arenas that had been half-empty for years were selling out in minutes when Clark's schedule dropped. But while everyone focused on her crossover dribbles and clutch shots, something far more calculated was happening behind closed doors. Her representation wasn't just negotiating contracts, they were methodically studying the league's structural weaknesses, identifying pressure points, and preparing to exploit every single vulnerability they could find. Meet Lindsay Kagawa-Colas, the woman who's about to rewrite the WNBA playbook with surgical precision. This isn't some rookie agent stumbling through her first big contract or learning the ropes with small-time deals. Colas runs Wasserman's women's division like a military operation and has represented legends like Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, and Brittany Griner through career-defining moments. She's the agent who orchestrated political campaigns through her players, transforming basketball courts into platforms for social justice. She helped coordinate the efforts that freed Brittany Griner from Russian detention, proving she operates on levels that go far beyond sports contracts. Colas has made a career out of turning athletes into cultural power brokers who shape conversations way beyond their respective games. When Colas took on Clark as a client, industry insiders knew immediately that she wasn't just signing another basketball player, she was acquiring the most valuable asset in women's sports history, a generational talent with crossover appeal that transcends demographics. And now, after months of careful planning and strategic positioning, she's ready to cash in on every bit of that accumulated leverage. The timing couldn't be more perfect, like pieces falling into place for the ultimate power move. The WNBA Players Union opted out of their current collective bargaining agreement last October, and negotiations have been crawling at a snail's pace ever since, with both sides seemingly unable to bridge fundamental gaps. But what most people don't realize is that this CBA dispute isn't just about salary bumps and better hotel rooms. It's become Colas' secret weapon, a once-in-a-decade opportunity to completely reshape the league's power structure. Sources close to the negotiations reveal that Clark's team has been quietly presenting demands that go beyond anything ever seen in WNBA history, proposals so bold they've left league executives scrambling to figure out how to respond. We're talking about partial control over media rights that could give Clark veto power over certain broadcasts, guaranteed charter flights for specific games that would cost franchises hundreds of thousands extra, and influence over team marketing budgets that would essentially make her a co-executive in basketball operations. These aren't just contract negotiations. They're demands that would make NFL agents jealous and fundamentally alter how WNBA business gets conducted. But the most explosive rumor circulating through league circles suggests something even bigger and more disruptive than anyone initially imagined. Multiple insiders claim Colas has been systematically laying the groundwork for Clark to potentially force her way out of Indiana entirely, using market dynamics and corporate pressure as her weapons of choice. The strategy reportedly involves leveraging Clark's massive market value to create irresistible pressure from sponsors and media partners who want her showcased in markets that can maximize her global appeal. Think about the economics for a moment. New York Liberty games with Clark would be appointment television that could command Super Bowl-level advertising rates. Las Vegas Aces with Clark and Aya Wilson. That's not just basketball, that's primetime entertainment gold that networks would throw money at. Los Angeles with Clark. That's not just basketball, that's entertainment empire territory where she could build a media presence that rivals any athlete in any sport. The financial projections alone would make team owners dizzy with possibilities. The genius of this plan isn't just about money, it's about timing, pressure, and understanding exactly how leverage works in professional sports. While the CBA negotiations drag on month after month with no resolution in sight, Clark's value keeps skyrocketing at an almost unprecedented rate. Every sold-out arena becomes proof of her drawing power, every broken viewership record demonstrates her television value, every Nike commercial featuring her face reinforces her marketability, and every social media mention adds to her cultural influence. All of this becomes ammunition for colas to use against league executives who know they can't afford to lose her. The message being sent is crystal clear and impossible to ignore. Pay her what she's actually worth in the marketplace, give her the platform and respect she deserves, or watch her take her talent somewhere that will recognize her true value and build an entire franchise around maximizing her potential. But this power play is creating serious fractures within the WNBA community that threaten to tear the league apart from the inside. Veteran players who spent decades fighting for basic respect, decent salaries, and professional treatment are reportedly furious about Clark's perceived special treatment and the precedent it might set. When Indiana started using charter flights for certain games, the backlash was swift, brutal, and came from multiple directions within the league. Angel Reese made cryptic social media posts about earning your spot and paying dues, comments that many interpreted as direct shots at Clark's immediate privileges. Candace Parker allegedly warned teammates and younger players about the dangers of one player monopolizing the spotlight and creating unrealistic expectations. Other veterans have reportedly held private meetings expressing concerns that Clark's demands could destroy the collaborative culture they worked years to build. The locker room politics are getting ugly behind closed doors, and it's threatening to split the league into two irreconcilable camps, Team Clark and everyone else who feels left behind by this sudden shift in power dynamics. The corporate side is even messier, with boardroom battles that would make Wall Street executives blush. Nike has invested millions in Clark through endorsement deals and marketing campaigns, and executives want her front and center in every major campaign, commercial, and promotional push they make. But other league sponsors are getting increasingly nervous about alienating the rest of the player pool by focusing too heavily on one athlete, worried about backlash that could damage their brand. Relationships across the league. Behind the scenes, there's reportedly a full-scale war brewing between different marketing factions that can't agree on strategy. Some executives are pushing hard for Clark to get her own signature everything: shoes, apparel lines, streaming deals, and even her own branded content platforms. Others worry that this level of individual focus could permanently damage the league's collective brand and create resentment that lasts for years, potentially making other stars less cooperative with sponsor obligations. The money being thrown around is staggering, with reports of bidding wars for Clark's attention that dwarf what most WNBA players see in entire careers. What makes this situation so dangerous for the WNBA is that they desperately need Clark for their financial survival, but they can't appear to be bending over backward just for her without destroying their credibility with everyone else. It's a nearly impossible balancing act that has league executives losing sleep and scrambling for solutions that don't exist. If they give in to all her demands, they risk a veteran player revolt, accusations of favoritism that could poison the entire league culture, and setting precedents that would make future negotiations with other stars completely unmanageable. But if they don't give her what she wants and what the market clearly says she's worth, they risk losing the biggest star women's basketball has ever produced. Right when the sport is finally gaining the mainstream traction and corporate investment they've dreamed about for decades, the financial implications are staggering. Losing Clark could mean losing television deals, sponsorship money, and fan interest that took years to build and might never be recovered. The stakes couldn't be higher. This isn't just about one player's contract or one agent's negotiation tactics. This is about whether the WNBA can evolve into a league where superstars have real power and leverage, or whether it will remain stuck in an outdated system where even generational talents get treated like interchangeable parts. Colas isn't just fighting for Clark's money. She's fighting to establish a new precedent that could change how every future WNBA superstar approaches their career. What happens next will define the league's future. If Clark's team succeeds in forcing major concessions from the WNBA, it will signal to every college phenom and international star that they can demand real power when they enter the league. Other agents will study Cola's playbook and use it as a template for their own negotiations. The entire economic structure of women's professional basketball could shift permanently. But there's also a darker possibility. If this power struggle gets too public, too messy, or too divisive, It could damage both Clark's reputation and the WNBA's momentum just when the league was finally building sustainable growth. The very tactics that could liberate WNBA's superstars from decades of underpayment and undervaluation could also create so much internal chaos that it destroys the progress that's been made. The WNBA thought they were getting a transcendent player who would elevate their entire sport. What they actually got was a calculated disruption of their entire power structure, orchestrated by one of the shrewdest agents in professional sports. Lindsay Kagawa-Colas didn't just sign Caitlin Clark, she acquired the leverage to rewrite the rules of women's basketball forever. And win or lose, the WNBA will never be the same again.